the United Kingdom finally banned this Islamist group. Pakistan banned them a long time ago, but the UK is like, let me think about it. Despite the alphabet soup of terrorist groups in Pakistan, even they were like, nah, we don't want these guys. The UK is like, I don't know. Okay. The UK government, led by Home Secretary James Cleverly, has officially designated Hizb Tahrir as a terrorist organization, citing its anti-Semitism and support for Hamas, particularly for praising Hamas's surprise attack on Israel on October 7th. The decision follows incidents where group followers were heard chanting jihad at a pro-Gaza rally. The ban, effective January 19th, makes association with or support for Hizb Tahrir in a criminal offense under UK terrorism laws, aligning it with groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Offenses can lead to up to 14 years in prison. Cleverly emphasized, Hizb Tahrir is an anti-Semitic organization that promotes and encourages terrorism, including praising and celebrating the appalling October 7th attacks. The UK joins other nations in banning the group, which has been accused of glorifying and supporting terrorist groups. Labour's Shadow Home Secretary Yvette Cooper supported the decision, stating, quote, "Those who incite violence and promote or glorify terrorism have no place on Britain's streets and must face the full force of the law." Meanwhile, Hizb Tahrir has refuted the allegations, condemning the ban as a desperate move by Britain, comparing it to authoritarian regimes. So, Arman, can you provide a bit of background on Hizb Tahrir to people who are not familiar with this notorious group?
I mean, it's just one of those other radical groups that supports, bringing they're actually supported bringing Islamic Caliphate back before ISIS was a thing, right? So that was their intentions of doing
Since
like
1953.
Yes. I mean, they don't themselves. Imagine I was with these people, and that's why he also was arrested in Egypt. In Egypt, these people are hunted down and arrested and sometimes tortured.
Oh, I know that was funny in their statement. They're like, "Is the UK turning into Egypt?" Like calling them authoritarian for this.
Oh yeah. What do you think? Are they? Some people would say, like, what happened to free speech? I mean, these people might be celebrating terrorist activities, but they themselves are not directly engaging in terrorist activities. They're just expressing their opinions, and you are supposed to be bastions of free speech. So what happened here? What happened? How do you respond to that?
Well, okay. What is not included in free speech is incitement to violence. And I think glorifying terrorism very easily falls into incitement to violence, especially when you're calling the Hamas terrorists heroes. That's very easily encouraging terrorism and glorifying that. So, also, I think there's a strong argument for not allowing groups that are explicitly anti-democratic.
But what does it mean by banned? Like, it's the people within the organization, they're not arrested or anything. It's just is it just the institution that is not allowed to just function as an official institution anymore? Is that what they mean by ban?
Oh man, I got watered down the wrong pipe. Let me pull up the language specifically. Just a second.
Okay. Okay. Take your time.
Where am I gonna find it?
Yeah, but KCA, First Amendment, this is the UK, not the United States. People are mentioning the First Amendment. This is the United Kingdom, not the United States.
Yeah, exactly. First of all, yeah, exactly. I mean, Hizb Tahrir is allowed in America, for the record. Prescribing this terrorist group will ensure that anyone who belongs to and invites support for them will face consequences. It will curb Hizb Tahrir's ability to operate as it currently does. The most serious offenses linked to banned organizations can result to up to 14 years in jail. Police can also seize any property associated with a group once it has been banned. So, for those of you who are not familiar with Hizb ut-Tahrir, they are an Islamist group that mostly promotes they fully promote establishing a caliphate. They want to establish a caliphate. They believe that the nation state system is actually against Islam, and they believe in globalizing Islam. But my understanding is that they believe in this mostly through essentially subverting current democratic and governmental processes, less often through violent, explicit means. Although they do promote that. I mean, they are okay with it. They're not going to say anything against it, but their own method is more incremental creep than violent jihad explicitly. I mean, we have a friend, Armin, Deborah, who we interviewed on this channel, who was married to a Hizbi. And so she was in that movement for years and years and years, and they're Islamic fundamentalists. And she lived a very fundamentalist life. And what was so interesting, Armin, is when you were interviewing her, because she was a convert. I remember you saying repeatedly that she lived a more strict Islamic lifestyle than you ever did. Like, and I think you even maybe said that
Oh
she
yeah.
was more knowledgeable in that area than you.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I still don't understand what the ban means. So you cannot go ahead and say. So my understanding of the ban was that the organization is dismantled, and it cannot be an official institution that is working. But you're saying no, it goes above that. You cannot come out and publicly say, "Oh, like Hizb ut-Tahrir, you support it, you want to advertise it." You will get punished simply for saying that. In the UK, if you just come and say, "I support this organization," you will get punished for that by just saying that.
Belonging to, inviting support for, or displaying material that shows public support for the group.
Wow. Okay. You can't do that in the United States, guys. Like this level of, I mean, whatever judgment you have on whether this is a good thing to do in the UK or not, but if that's what you can, Susanna, you're an American. You correct me if I'm wrong. You can't stop people from saying stuff like that in the United States. Like there is no laws. It would be against the Constitution for you to come and say, like, oh yeah, you can't support that. United States, like, no, anybody can say whatever they want, right?
Yeah.
Legally, at least. Yeah. Okay.
That
Wow.
doesn't mean you won't end
Okay.
up on a watch list.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
will end up on a
Or
watch list.
or lose your job, but it's legal. But you can't legally be challenged. Yeah.
Not to my knowledge.
There's no punishment for that. But also, Anna is pointing out in live chat, right? So basically, you can support their ideas, but not their name, right? So you cannot say I support Hizb ut-Tahrir, but you could literally say everything that they believe in, and you can say I support that. In the UK,
I guess that's a way around it.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know if UK laws work, guys. I don't know. I would like to stop Hizb ut-Tahrir as much as most anti-radical, anti-Islam people. I don't think this is the way. I mean, does it? What do you think? Do you think it works? Do you think like, oh, we ban you from supporting this group? Do you think that actually helps stop ideas like this spreading? Because I might think it will do the opposite. I think it
I don't
might
know. I
help
mean, I
spread
do
it
know
even
that
more.
Hizb is going to challenge this with every legal method available to them. I know that for sure. Does it actually stop it? I mean, in a way, it just pushes it underground. But I
Yes.
think because of how Islamism is just on full display and seemingly widely supported and accepted in broad sectors of UK society, that I don't know, the Home Office felt like they had to do something. I guess. I mean, but at the same time, like deposing Suella Braverman was like not a good move if that's your objective.
I mean, I would be completely for like dismantling the institution, stopping them from raising funds because it's a terrorist sympathizing. That I don't think it's against your free speech if a government comes and says like, yeah, we're shutting down this institution. You could go around as individuals and keep saying these nonsense, but you as an institution is shutting down. We're like taking your assets. You cannot raise funds. You cannot be a legal entity. I think that is not against your free speech because that is just like, as an institution, saying you're not allowed to have these positions as an official institution. I think as long as the individuals can say whatever the hell they want, I don't think that's a violation of your free speech. And again, it will stop them from be able to raise funds and get money from outside of UK to bring and support radicalism in the UK. I would be all for that. Yeah. But go on, Susie.
Wait, I want to look up something.
Guys, do you agree with me? I don't know. I'm very skeptical about my own position. I just don't know if this works. I mean, look at the level of. I mean, that is not a very good correlation. Does not mean causation. Often, not always, but in the UK we have more radical Islamists than in the United
Okay, but
States. And in
let's
the
be
US we
clear.
have free
In
speech.
America, here they're saying, okay,
they say Clear uses biometrics to replace your ID for faster entry.
What is
oh my
that?
God. Okay, Google, stop. Sorry.
Okay, Google stuff. Yeah, you go on.
So the UK is designating them basically a terrorist organization. In America,
Right.
if you are a member of a designated foreign terrorist organization, that's also illegal.
Yeah. The institution being in that's I support that. Like in the United States, you can shut down a terrorist institution, but then you can't go to the individual members of the institution and say, in the United States at least, you can't tell them to stop supporting this institution, stop saying that you support this institution. So, for example, in the United States, if an organization is supporting terrorism, the government can step in and like, yeah, we're shutting you guys down. But then the members of that institution, if they come out and say like, wow, you shouldn't have done that, that I support that institution being a thing, you can't punish that individual anymore. I mean, in the US you can't, but in UK you can. Anyways, we're getting into so much detail.
Well, I know obviously in the US it's the material support that is the big issue.
Yeah. Anna is saying, I would also check the mosques to where the individual members are going to pray. They can just continue working underground through other Islamic establishments. Yeah, I mean, we have to see at what point are we supporting a police state in hopes of stopping terrorism? Again, I think
you were okay with that level of surveillance in America.
Yeah, I didn't say I am against it. I'm just saying that we have to be mindful about it. Again, I don't know. I'm not claiming that I know the answer. I think it's a good thing to be worried about it. I think I support intelligence agencies following up, being monitoring people and following them and making sure that they don't do any terrorist activities. But I think this does not contradict also being mindful about how much. I think they both of this pressure needs to exist at the same time. I think the pressure on the government to follow people and collect information and intelligence to make sure they avoid terrorist activities, and the pressure on the government for it not to turn into a police state, both of them existing at the same time gets us to reasonable balances. You know what I mean? I think just because we support one side doesn't mean that the pressure on the other side should not exist. Does that make sense? And again, what the balance is, I don't know. I think it's a hard question. I think a lot of people act like they know what the balance is, and they don't know. Okay.
By the way, I was looking up more details, and in the US, if you are spreading propaganda for designated terrorist organizations, that can be a criminal offense for which you can be charged.
Oh, wait, say it again. What?
Mm-hmm. The spreading of
Can you say that
propaganda
again?
for designated foreign terrorist organizations can be a criminal. You can be charged with that criminally.
In the US?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Wow. I didn't know that. I learned something today. Thank you, Susie.
The U.S. Constitution's First Amendment protects freedom of speech, and this protection extends to many forms of expression, however, including controversial or unpopular speech. However, the U.S. Supreme Court has held that certain kinds of speech, such as speech that incites lawless imminent action, are not protected. The line between protected speech and unlawful material support in the form of propaganda can be very nuanced and subject to legal debate.
Okay. What did we say, Susie? What did we say? I mean, the Jew tunnels didn't get us demonetized, but Hizb ut-Tahrir did.
It makes sense.
Hizb ut-Tahrir. It makes sense, yes. Okay. So, guys, we've been demonetized. Help us with super chats, please, or memberships. Thank you. Okay. So, I'm going to submit an appeal. So, Hizb ut-Tahrir got us there. I'm going to submit an appeal. Again, the way this works is that it's going to take a couple of days for YouTube to review our video and decide whether we have said would be naughty boys and girls or not. And then if we get our monetization back, by that time, it doesn't really matter that much because most of our audience, most of the people who watch the streams, watch it within the first 24 to 48 hours, right? So, but again, I will submit an appeal anyways, but this is how this works. Anyways,
this goes to prove. I love
yeah.
this comment. Wait,
Oh,
stop.
yeah.
Thou shall not offend terror organizations. Exactly. The real conspiracy is not the Hasidic Jews. It is Islamists.
Okay, to be fair, I don't think YouTube demonetized us because we were offending terror organizations. I think it's because we mentioned them, and YouTube might think that maybe we're promoting them. I would guess that's the reason why we got.
No, the reason is that the YouTube algorithm is the greatest of deceivers.
Yes. They work in They do work in mysterious ways, don't they? Like people were pointing out in the chat, like we have to always guess, like what is thy will, right? So we don't know. We can't know the mind of God. We got a super chat.
Asian American gave us a super chat. Thank you. Saying Nelson Mandela was a registered terrorist until 2008. Well, designated by who? The context of that is important.
Yeah, but until 2008, maybe because I don't know what the details behind that is, but maybe nobody went and removed it because there was no point because he's, nobody took that seriously. Sometimes things are on
there is a
paper.
point because sanctions can be levied against you.
Yeah, but maybe they're not affecting anything, so that's why nobody bothered. Maybe. I don't know. I have to look into the details.
I highly doubt that. I would think that it has more to do with it is a lot easier to levy sanctions than remove them.
Okay, but I'm not.
And I do think that's a huge issue in American foreign policy. I'm not against having sanctions. Let me be clear. And obviously, I'm not just across the board. The context matters. But it is a huge problem that.
Yeah, but we're not talking about sanctions. Okay.
If you're a designated terrorist, you get sanctioned.
Yeah, but those are two different steps of two different things. I don't think Nelson Mandela was sanctioned. I think he was just on a piece of paper, and nobody bothered to remove. My guess was like that there was no sanctions or anything against him. There was on a piece of paper that at some point he was registered as a terrorist, and nobody bothered to ever remove it because it wasn't affecting anything. That's my guess. Anyways, I'm glad it was removed. Okay.
Norse mythology sent us a super sticker. Can you see what the super sticker is?
Oh yeah, I can do that. Norse mythology. It is. It's a pair giving you a thumbs up. As pairs often do.
Atheist Damon gave us $4 super chat saying demonetized. Why YouTube? Why? Too spicy. And Kenny gave us a $10 super chat with no comment. Thank you, Kenny.
Thank you.
Very generous.
See, guys, every time we get demonetized, you guys cover us up, so we don't have to bother about like just dancing around YouTube's algorithm, right? We could just be whatever. We could say whatever we want. Yeah. Thank you guys for that. Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.